So let me walk you through the steps, like first year, second year, third year, fourth year, what happens when, and how do we reach this target of $1 billion valuation, or a really valuable company within the 4 years time, allowing say Ravi to exit and go on doing his Padayatra from Himalayas and on to his Hollywood career, and how rest of the organization and the ideas continue to germinate. Okay, so I will be using a simple analogy of a plant, a tree, and fruit, flower kind of stuff. So right now Ventec is like the mother tree. Okay, I know the 70-20-10 idea which we had, the 20 and 10 are, yes, they are new ideas, stuff like that, but right now we are like very young saplings. Okay, so the only mother tree we have, so we have to be very clear, we have a papaya tree or a coconut tree or mango tree. Right now we are very clearly a Ventec tree, and Ventec's key domain knowledge or strength is in federal projects and in healthcare. Okay, so right now any ideas which we take or any flowers we are going to support can only support this particular domain. Okay, so what do we do? So the tree has different parts. So the roots are kind of underground, they're invisible. I would akin that to the senior management, which is basically bringing in this contacts, connections, the initial seed capital to germinate, and keeping the whole tree running. So the Ventec's current projects or the investment is going to come from whatever is our current reach. Okay, so then we have this trunk, so some part of the organization. So every person in the organization will be mapped to certain skill set, and based on the first iteration, the spring iteration, so we will be able to quickly figure out like who has intrinsically a entrepreneurial spirit and who wants to be part of a team, but probably not a leadership kind of level, but the support kind of roles, because we do need all these roles. So it is not important to just say, oh, he's a programmer, so that's it. But no, even successful teams, they need sales, they need marketing, they need how to promote, meeting customers, finance. All these are important to make a successful fruit. Okay, so we don't focus only on the fruit or members or only the fruit, but the entire team, everybody knows what role they are playing, and it's all to a common goal. Okay, so right now, say Naresh comes with a few ideas, and the ideas can come from external industry, can come from the customers, can come from internal teams, India, US, whatever it is. So we validate those ideas. So then people start saying like, oh, this is an idea which I can run with. I want to be a flower, I want to be a leaf, I want to be a trunk. So these are my roles. So everybody has a primary role and a secondary role. Like you also said, like 20% of the time you do something else. So by the resume, people may be a developer or a coder, but his hobby might be like he likes to play guitar and music, or likes to do photography, which is very interesting, because even any product, we do need to make marketing videos and explainer videos, we need to make presentations and pitches and things like that. So everybody is mapped out around these ideas as what they are supporting, what they're going to do. So everybody has in the first phase of the spring phase, like everybody's mapped out primary role, secondary role, on what they're going to do, what they like to do and wish to do. Okay, and in every organization, like especially youngsters, one of the key challenges, like we are going on a continuous recruitment cycle all through the year, which is also meaningless, because like once we have identified what ideas we're going to support, we know exactly what technology domains we're going to be working in. Like the most hottest technology domains will be like say big data, or analytics, or IoT, or like deep AI, or deep AI concepts, or whatever it is. So it could even be hardware related, like somebody wants to work on drones or whatever. But right now, given a constraint, I would say like we would limit on the first year, we limit to being a mango tree or being a papaya tree. That's it, because overall the success value is much better. Okay, so once we've identified that, in summer phase, like that's when like each of these ideas could be as many ideas, but we will limit it to how much the tree can support. Okay, so the number probably could be 2 or 3 or whatever, because it will finally be some energy of what of a combined organization, how many teams can we support, because each of them would be requiring some funding, some mentoring and things like that. So we don't want to overcommit and undercommit. So we have to have some calculation in terms of timelines or whatever, given the current bandwidth where we are. These are the number of ideas. So that will immediately give you a number to track. How many ideas are we going to germinate this year? Okay. Then as it goes to the fall phase and the winter phase, okay, so each of the teams, like if it's a marketing person, so he knows what he has to market, towards the end of the year. So he's getting prepared for that. Okay. And every idea which we pick, we will be assuming that these ideas actually germinate. Okay. The chances, what is a fruit? What is the purpose of a fruit? A fruit has to take the seed of the organization, seed of the idea, and it has to propagate itself. So the birds are like maybe venture capitalists or whatever who come, they pluck, they're attracted by the sap, they take the seed away, take it to a different place. So the best case scenario is like we germinate something, some proof of concept we build, somebody likes it. It could be a company where it is exiting, or it could be a venture capitalist or an external investor who says, okay, I will fund it. Or it could even go to another incubation center or an accelerator, say it goes and joins Google's accelerator team so that it has better visibility than what say GMI can provide. So that way, like the fruit, every fruit is trying to attract an external audience. Okay. And the leaves and other things, we are all supporting it. Okay. So as it goes through the winter phase, which is like when it has to go through an intense period of, going out, going to the market, stretching it out, and evaluating and testing it out. Okay, then each of these ideas we can nicely slot into different things. So there are some ideas which as a parent company we might want to retain, where we feel that, oh, this needs a little bit more time to fructify. Let's survive and let's take it to the next cycle, so that will immediately determine the funding for the next year. Some fruits would be plucked by the birds, they'll be taken away. So there is a team, a finance team, which is overall looking at valuations, how to value, how to rotate, how to structure and all that stuff. So the team doesn't have to break its head. So they know exactly, okay, this fruit is ready, this is the value. If you take it right now, this is what it is. Okay, go out, multiply. And by the time we know that the fruit already has the DNA, the seed inside it, so that wherever it lands, it knows intrinsically that innovation process which we are trying to build, it will try to replicate and survive. Okay, there are some which might kind of fall down and try to germinate under the parent, if it's a healthcare kind of idea. So feel overall the tree is a healthcare tree. So there are some shrubs which are falling under it, so it still needs some more cover, still needs some more time for it to stretch out and become a tree again. Okay, and there are some which may not fructify at all, and some of the flowers will fall down. But this is where we would say, like, typically a youngster who joins a startup, yes, all the things are great, he's getting excited and money, everything, but the failure rate of startups is also scaring people away. So anybody who has, even if you talk to people in Bangalore, people who have worked in a startup for one or two startups, they suddenly get very afraid, and then suddenly they come back to the Infosys and Cognizants of the world because they somehow feel that stability is missing, because they want marriage and their family is concerned and things like that. So that is where say GMI and the Ventec will pitch in and say, okay, even if your idea fails, it's okay to fail. So you recycle, you collect all the knowledge. So knowledge is never a waste. They can become form of new teams if they want to. Their idea may not be customer ready or industry ready, but their knowledge which they have gained in terms of technology, in terms of various operations they've done, that is very important for the organization. So they come back like compost, they join the team. So in the next cycle, okay, the new ideas are coming up, so they can say, oh, I need a person who has this particular skill set. Oh, he has already worked in big data, I am doing something else with big data. So with a slight modification, he can be reused, so that even an entrepreneur within the organization, he does not feel left out. Because I know the examples you stated was the first or the second idea. If you're not there, then you cut it and kill it, but it also creates a certain amount of fear factor, because failure also is, nature does not say only one, I want only Hispanics, I want only white Americans, everybody else, rest of the brown skins or Chinese, I'm just going to kill them. If you are 6 feet and above, I'll keep you, otherwise I'm going to kill. No, nature provides every single person the opportunity to sustain. If you're not, you become decomposed, you become compost and come back to the soil, and you come back in a different avatar. Okay, so that is where we need to manage, set the expectations for employees, because there are some employees who are very smart. They are just using it as a stepping stone in their career. That's fine. You put them on the fast track. There are certain employees who want to be part of the parent organization in different roles. So you recycle them back and say, okay, work on a different team, so that like overall the cycles are still the same, but people don't feel that, oh, that guy was a success, he got everything, I didn't do anything, and I'm being thrown out of the organization. So that's I think we also need to be careful as parents. We don't waste anything, any of the talent which we have built, we don't waste it. We try as far as possible to recycle it back. Okay, the second year, what happens is, like, we would have already germinated a few healthcare ideas. It would be in various stages of stuff. So So that will give the team a little bit more confidence to venture into other ideas. So the next year's idea cycle, we would venture out and say, okay, we can take some other domain or a few other technologies, because now at least everybody in the organization would have gone through at least one cycle, would understand what it is. So that would how I would phase it out. So the third year, okay, still more ideas. And second is in the industry also, like as we start today, our recognition or something of the brand value or whatever may be very limited. But as we go through this cycle and as we interact with the trade bodies, industry bodies, we have a presence in hackathons and startup pitches and business plan contests and all that. So everybody gets to know, oh, there is a team like this and this is how they're working. So the chances that the ecosystem will start supporting itself. So new people who come in. So the recruitment process for next year, the kind of talent we'll get the next year would be much better than what we'll get this year. So these would be the benchmarks which we would say, okay, next, because that's how nature also works. Okay, I might have failed the first time. Next time when I repeat myself, I should be a better tree. I should have more leaves. I should have more flowers. Okay. So next year's idea could be an exponential growth on this year's ideas, even though the tree itself may not be as big. But the tree, as I see, is a parent. Okay, is Ventec and the GMI parent. Okay, the tree is also growing. Okay, so it has its reach, it has its capacity, its brand value is also increasing. Okay, and interestingly, this model of using nature's way is also something where people usually corporates try to say it's my way, it's my way. It's like it's not our way, it's nature's way. You trademark it, and slowly after second, third year, if we continuously, it's like one of the biggest challenges even in accelerators and incubation centers across the world, which I see is huge failures. You know, all this process of ideation and all that is great. But after 2 or 3 years, when the incubation phase is over, the chance rate of how many startups have really made it and survived is very, very low. Because even the mentoring or whatever it is very loosely structured. There is no cohesive way. Whereas we are going, the entire focus of the organization is we are going to be an innovation lab. And our only product is innovation. And whoever is coming out of this GMI brand is an independent innovator. It's like a seed. The seed has all the DNA which you're going to inject it. Okay. The only little constraint is, the timing and the phasing. So the whole organization, which is what I'm trying to bounce out to you, the spring, summer, autumn, winter style of working. Okay, it might be a little different because like you might say, oh, in June, I have an investor coming, I want to pitch and exit. No, that's too early. Even we should train the investors and saying, no, I'm not ready till December. Don't come and try to cut out too early, because like there is a certain process, there is something which you want to do. All exits or all decisions to funding or pitching to external investors or valuation, it will all happen only at the same time, so that the entire management's attention, because otherwise I've seen myself all through the year we are trying to raise funds, all through the year we are trying to do recruiting, and it's extremely straining for the management team's attention, because morning to night you're doing all the activities simultaneously. So that way we clearly set expectations internally and also externally that we don't want to exit in summer. No, we will exit only in winter. Just look outside, everything is dying, everything is slowing down, everything is falling down. That means naturally we are in the cycle. That is when as a mood we are all ready. Then we can let go. Otherwise we don't want to let go too early. We don't want to let go too late. Okay, so that way like every year we know what is our capacity, what we are going to work on, what tree we are going to focus on. And after every cycle, anybody who branches out and becomes independent, so this is like harvesting. So it is like, okay, the tree is happy because the purpose has been served, the fruit has left the parent branch. So there has been some valuation, there has been some income which has come, and that keeps coming back and plowing back into the resources of the tree. So we keep saying, okay, at the end of first year, how much did we make? What did we learn? Okay, next cycle, next cycle, next cycle. But we don't let go of any of the fruits. Every fruit is part of the tree and we need to have certain ownership of that. And as far as possible, we are going to take every fruit's wealth which is creating is being plowed back into the DNA, into the intuition of the organization. So that just like how nature, like even a newborn baby, they intuitively know crying, this thing. So next cycle, when a new startup is formed in the same platform, without you teaching itself, the team knows, how to go, how to meet customers, you don't even have to guide them. So the top-down approach of the management saying like, oh, you have to be innovative, putting posters, everything, and having hackathons and all, they don't even need that, because the intuition of the organization will be like, oh, I know what to do. I know whom to ask, I know where to go. So that is also will be measured. So that some of the benchmarks of this innovation factory. So the end of 4 years, one, the individual products would have given you value, and after 4 years, any organization, forget even the VC. The VCs are taking money from the hedge funds or from the government funds, pension funds, and plowing them back into startups, and their returns are extremely low. The minute they find that there is an organization which is producing repeated innovations, and each of those innovations are successful. Right now, most of the incubators, even if they get 10%, even the top incubators in the world, even in Silicon Valley, even in 10% of the startups which they incubate, if they reach success, it's a big jackpot. Whereas we are looking at consistently, like, even if you can take the 10% to say 20%, 30%, and say our startups have a much better success rate because of this model. The model by itself also adds value. And so by the time 4 years is over, we have a model, and it's a very simple model. It's nature's way. We can trademark it and say, okay, if any of the organizations, universities or corporations want to create something, we have people who can go implement it and even set up this nature's way as an innovation lab model. And that's money, and that's wealth as well. So I hope this kind of gives a kind of a opening to where my thought process is going. Feel free to comment, feel free to thrash it. Okay. So if things are okay, then I will start putting some thoughts into it, make a slide deck, get it in writing. I was also planning to make a small animation, explainer video instead of this very long bhashan. But anyway, Happy New Year, guys. Enjoy your day, and best wishes for the year ahead. Bye bye.